Hello, Lad Lane Leopards. Today's matchup is Shoeless Joe and Black Betsy versus I Have a Superpower.
Shoeless Joe and Black Betsy. Shoeless Joe Jackson once played an entire baseball game in his stocking feet. That's why they called him Shoeless Joe. Some say he was the greatest baseball player ever. Even the mighty Babe Ruth copied his swing. But what most people don't know is just how Shoeless Joe became such a great hitter. They say before Shoeless Joe was to start playing in the minors, he fell into a terrible hitting slump, worst slump of his life. No matter what he tried, Shoeless Joe simply could not hit a baseball. He changed the way he stood at home plate, didn't work. Switched from batting lefty to batting righty, didn't work. Even tried wearing glasses, still didn't work. Shoeless Joe grew more and more concerned. How could he possibly play baseball if he could no longer hit? Then Shoeless Joe had an idea. He went to see his friend, old Charlie Ferguson. Old Charlie was the finest batsmith in all of South Carolina, and in all of the South for that matter. If it had to do with a baseball bat, old Charlie was your man. "Charlie," Shoeless Joe said, "I have an awful problem. I can't hit a baseball anymore, and I'm supposed to start playing in the minors. I need your help." Old Charlie raised his bushy right eyebrow. "What do you want me to do about it, Shoeless Joe? I reckon I haven't played baseball in 40 years. "I need you to make me a bat," Shoeless Joe replied. "But not just any bat. I need you to make me the greatest baseball bat there ever was. If you do, I just know I'll break out of this awful slump." Old Charlie looked at him. "You're an odd character, Shoeless Joe, but I reckon there ain't no job old Charlie can't handle. You come back in a few days and I'll have what you need." A few days later, Shoeless Joe returned to old Charlie's workshop, and old Charlie handed Shoeless Joe the most beautiful baseball bat he had ever seen. "That's the bat?" Shoeless Joe exclaimed. "She'll definitely be able to hit a baseball. I think I'm going to call her Betsy, after Betsy Ross. Pitchers are going to honor and respect this bat the way they respect the flag Betsy Ross created." So off Shoeless Joe went, but he still couldn't break out of his slump. A few days later, he was back at old Charlie's workshop with Betsy in hand. "Charlie, I'm still in a slump." "What kind of wood is Betsy?" Shoeless Joe asked. "Oak," old Charlie replied. "Strongest wood there is." Shoeless Joe wagged his finger. "I need you to make Betsy out of hickory." Old Charlie raised his right eyebrow. "Hickory?" Shoeless Joe smiled and nodded. "My last name's Jackson, just like the 7th President of the United States, Andrew Jackson. They called him Old Hickory. Any Jackson who swings a baseball bat must use that one that's made of hickory. And Betsy needs to be made of the hickory from the north side of the hickory tree. That's the strongest." Old Charlie looked at Joe and said, "You're an odd character, Shoeless Joe, but I reckon there ain't no job that old Charlie can't handle. You come back in a few days and I'll have what you need." A few days later, Shoeless Joe returned to old Charlie's workshop, and old Charlie handed Shoeless Joe the most beautiful baseball bat he had ever seen. "That's the bat?" Shoeless Joe exclaimed. "She'll definitely be able to hit a baseball." So off Shoeless Joe went, but he still couldn't break out of his slump. A few days later, he was back at old Charlie's workshop with Betsy in hand. "Charlie, I'm still in this slump. Pitchers aren't even afraid of her. Why?" "I reckon I don't recall much about pitchers," old Charlie replied. "I only know bats." Shoeless Joe wagged his finger. "I need for you to make Betsy mean and big and tough." Old Charlie raised his bushy right eyebrow. "Mean and big and tough?" Shoeless Joe smiled and nodded. "I need pitchers to be frightened of Betsy. I want 'em quaking in their spikes. Rub her down with some tobacco juice, make her dark and scary looking, and make her big, real big. Betsy must weigh 40 ounces. 1 ounce for each state in America. Once again, old Charlie looked at Joe and said, "You're an odd character, Shoeless Joe, but I reckon there ain't no job that old Charlie can't handle. You come back in a few days and I'll have what you need. But I'm telling you, Joe, sure as the sky is blue and the grass is green, I reckon there ain't much else I can do." The day before he was to start playing in the minors, Shoeless Joe returned to old Charlie's workshop, and the moment Shoeless Joe stepped through the door, old Charlie raised his bushy right eyebrow and spoke these words. "You're an odd character, Shoeless Joe. I reckon that I've told you each time you've come to see me. My job is done. The rest is up to you." Then old Charlie gave Shoeless Joe the biggest and most beautiful black baseball bat he had ever seen. "That's the bat?" Shoeless Joe exclaimed. "That's Black Betsy." So off Shoeless Joe went to the minor leagues, playing in Greenville, South Carolina. That first year in the minors, he had a great year. Swinging Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe had 120 hits in only 87 games. At the end of the season, Shoeless Joe got called up to play for Philadelphia in the major leagues. But things didn't go well for Shoeless Joe. He could manage only 3 hits in the major leagues, so they sent him back down to the minors. Shoeless Joe was dejected, so he and Black Betsy went back to see old Charlie. "Charlie, I don't know what to do." Shoeless Joe hung his head low. "Black Betsy and I hit 3.346 over in Greenville, but when we got called up to the majors, we couldn't hit a lick." Old Charlie took one look at Black Betsy and raised his right bushy eyebrow. "Shoeless Joe, you're a mighty fine baseball player, and I reckon you've got yourself the finest baseball bat in all the land. But sure as the sky is blue and the grass is green, I reckon you don't know a thing about taking care of Black Betsy. Don't you know Black Betsy needs warmth and love? She needs to sleep in your bed each and every night." "Thank you, Charlie," Shoeless Joe said. "I'll do that." Every single night, Black Betsy slept right beside Shoeless Joe. Playing in Savannah, that second year in the minors, he had an even greater season. Swinging Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe had 161 hits in only 118 games. At the end of the season, Shoeless Joe got called up to play for Philadelphia again in the big leagues. But things didn't go well for Shoeless Joe. Once again, he could manage only 3 hits in the big leagues, so they sent him back down to the minors. Shoeless Joe was even more dejected, so he and Black Betsy went back to see old Charlie. "Charlie, I don't know what to do." Shoeless Joe hung his head low. "Black Betsy and I hit .358 down in Savannah, but when we got called up to the big leagues, we couldn't hit a lick. I even did what you told me to do." Old Charlie took one look at Black Betsy and raised his bushy right eyebrow. "Shoeless Joe, you're a mighty fine baseball player, and I reckon you've got yourself the finest baseball bat in all the land. But as sure as the sky is blue and the grass is green, I reckon you still don't know a thing about taking care of Black Betsy. Don't you know Black Betsy needs more than just a warm bed? She needs a sweet oil massage every night. I reckon she takes an awful bruising from all them baseballs." "Thank you, Charlie," Shoeless Joe said. "I'll do that." Every single night, Shoeless Joe massaged Black Betsy with a sweet oil, and every single night, Black Betsy slept right beside Shoeless Joe. Playing in New Orleans that third year in the minors, he had an even greater season. Swinging Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe had 165 hits in only 136 games. At the end of the season, Shoeless Joe got called up to play for Cleveland in the major leagues. But before going to Cleveland, Shoeless Joe and Black went back to see old Charlie. "Old Charlie, Black Betsy and I hit a .354 down in New Orleans, and we've been called up to the big leagues. I've been treating Black Betsy real good, but I'm worried things won't work out again." Old Charlie took one look at Black Betsy and raised his right bushy eyebrow. "Shoeless Joe, you're a mighty fine baseball player, and I reckon that you've got yourself the finest baseball bat in all the land. I can see you're learning how to take care of Black Betsy." Old Charlie ran his fingertips over Black Betsy's wood. "When you get up north to Cleveland, make sure you wrap her in a cotton cloth every night. The South in the land of cotton, Shoeless Joe. And a good Southerner must always be true to his roots. Cotton will make Black Betsy feel right at home in Cleveland. Thank you, Charlie, Shoeless Joe said. I'll do that. Shoeless Joe followed all of old Charlie's instructions and everything went perfectly. Swinging Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe had 29 hits in only 20 games. And at the end of the season, Cleveland asked Shoeless Joe to come back to the major leagues again next year. Shoeless Joe took Black Betsy down south with him for the winter because, as he used to say, bats don't like to freeze no more than me. And he took care of Black Betsy like no other bat had ever been cared for in the history of baseball. He slept beside her every night. He sweet oil massaged her every single night, and he wrapped her in a cotton cloth every single night. In the springtime, Shoeless Joe went to play baseball in Cleveland. In his first game, using Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe hit his longest home run ever. He had a great season. Swinging Black Betsy, Shoeless Joe had 233 hits in only 147 games. They batted .408, and to this day, no rookie has ever had a finer year than Shoeless Joe, and of course, Black Betsy.
All right, friends, we're going to be reading a book, I Have a Superpower by Stephen Curry. Good evening, folks, and welcome back. The game is tied 92-92 with 4 seconds left on the clock. The home team has possession of the ball, but who will they give the ball to for the final shot? Let's watch. Our friend here is saying, someday that will be me on the court. I can almost hear them cheering my name. Hughes, Hughes, Hughes. Meet Hughes. He loves science, his dogs, and the game of basketball. Though he's only 8 years old and might seem like your ordinary kid, he is anything but ordinary. I am? Yes, because you have a what? You know, the thing that makes you extraordinary. A superpower. Today is no ordinary day for Hughes. Thanks, right. Today is a super, mega, huge day because today is the day I share my superpower with the world. But I am not going to just tell everyone about my superpower. I am going to show them my superpower. There are only a few people in the whole world who know about Hugh's superpower. My coach, my parents, and of course, me. Now tell them your other secret. It's my favorite part. Guess what? You have a superpower too, and I can teach you how to use it. Now I know what you're thinking. There is no way this short, scrawny kid has a superpower, and there's no way I have a superpower. That's exactly what I thought. But one day my mom told me all about my superpower. At first, I didn't believe her. Then my coach told me about it too. He said that my superpower will help me in all parts of my life. Even when I grow up, he even taught me how to use it on the basketball court. And that's how we got here. The moment we've been waiting for, folks. We're about to witness the super, mega, huge reveal. You've got this. Now get out there and show them all your superpower. I guess I'm worried I still won't be good enough to keep up with them. Okay, here we go. Can I get on a team? I'd rather have the dogs on our team than you. Yeah, at least your dogs can run fast and jump high. That's enough. We're a player short anyway. Line up, Hughes. You're in. Just try to get open and I'll pass you the ball. I've seen you practicing lately. You've got a decent shot, kid. Thanks. I'll try to keep up. And so began the moment Hughes dreaded, the picking of teams. Aaliyah and Caden are the two tallest kids in school. They could practically dunk since they were in 2nd grade. I'll take Aaliyah and I'll take Kaden. I wish I was as tall as a giraffe. All the kids would call me Stretch. Desmond and Owen are the 2 fastest kids out on the court. Desmond, Owen. I wish I could have run as fast as lightning. People would call me the Jolt. Mila and James have sneakers that are guaranteed to make you jump higher. Mila, James. And I wish I could jump way up into the sky and people would call me Spring Man. But Hughes didn't have any of those superpowers. And the one that he has isn't something that he was born with or learned in a day. No, it was quite the opposite. For months he practiced every day before and after school. He dribbled his basketball wherever he went. He shot free throws every weekend in his driveway. And he watched all of his favorite players on television learn how they played. That's right. So even though I might not be able to jump the highest, run the fastest, or be the tallest kid on the court, my heart is my superpower. With heart, Hughes knows he can overcome any obstacle that gets in his way because he is prepared and determined. And his heart allows Hughes to never give up on himself. And now I remember how I said I could teach you how to use your superpower. Well, heart isn't about winning or losing. It's about striving to be the best you can while still having fun. If you can remember that, then you can unlock your own superpower. Hughes, 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 Hughes. And remember, folks, having heart isn't just for sports. If you have heart with whatever you're passionate about, you're destined for success. So until next time, say it with us. My heart is my superpower. Wow, what a great game and such an inspirational story. When I was a kid, lots of people told me I was too small and too short to play basketball. But I never let that stop me from playing. And now I have a game for you. Go back and look through the book, paying extra close attention to the illustrations, and see if you can find all the things on my list of favorite things. Good luck. Look, it's Stephen Curry. Golf clubs, mouth guard, pair of Curry brand sneakers, golf ball, blue and yellow towel, butterfly, toy wolf, and toy unicorn, and popcorn. To all the kids who feel underrated, you have a superpower too. To all of those out there ready to embrace their own superpower. Thank you, guys.
Hello, Ladlane Leopards, Mr. A here. Thanks for watching our video. This was our last video in the first round. So if you have not voted on all of the videos, please go back and check and make sure you've got your votes in, because we will start counting votes today for all of the past videos. Then we will set up our second round matchups and continue with our March Madness. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to vote, and please make sure you like and subscribe.